Hey, Dan, quick
Yes,
question. Do you know when is golf coming in? Are they on an agenda yet? A date?
not for finance committee yet, no.
Okay, because they just asked me that. I just left capital budget.
Yeah,
Do you think you'll have them in?
I will at some point. I gotta talk to Brian about the remaining calendar, what you want to do with that, when you want to get it settled, and then we can start lining up people to come in. We're just finishing up the budget process this week. It'll be finalized and printed out probably the week after Thanksgiving, so.
Golf was on tonight. Well, just literally 1 minute ago, and
Yeah.
he couldn't make it. So they asked me,
Yeah.
they said, when are they coming to the finance committee? Because we want to make
Yeah.
sure we talk to him before you guys do.
Well, he missed the meeting earlier with me today, so I gotta check in
Okay,
tomorrow, see who's cooking with him.
okay, thanks.
And when
Yeah.
do we normally start having those meetings? Is it
They gotta start, so the Board of Selectmen by charter gets the budget. It's, gonna be right around December 15th. That's when the meeting is. So it can start anytime after that.
okay? Kyle, we ready to go?
Yeah, you want me to do the script right here?
Absolutely, please.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 23rd, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Yarmouth Finance Committee is being conducted via remote participation. All votes during this meeting will need to be conducted by roll call. No in-person attendance will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings as provided for in the order. Public participation will be permitted by allowing members of the public to join this meeting via Zoom. Mr. Chairman, you can just call a roll call, enter quorum into the meeting.
Okay. Great. Looks like we've got everybody. So if we could just start with Robert.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. George.
Here.
Stephanie.
Present.
Sarah.
Here.
Jack.
Here.
Nate.
Here.
And I myself am here as well. Okay, let me just pull up. I seem to have misplaced it. The agenda. The heck did I do with it? Bear with me. Technical difficulties.
It's up on the screen, Brian.
Well, there you go then.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's
Okay.
Kyle did.
So did everybody get a chance to look at the meeting minutes from last meeting?
I just looked at them 2 seconds ago, but I do see an issue with them.
Okay.
It just doesn't reflect that there was a vote for an amendment that failed. And I just think to be accurate, we should make sure that that's in there.
I actually noticed that as well, and wasn't sure if Dan, that was something that was done on purpose, or like if we
No.
didn't have it in there.
Oh, it should be in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then we can't approve the meeting minutes at all because they don't reflect any of our vote or any of our discussion.
So we will just table the vote until next meeting. That's fine. All right, that was quick. Moving on. We're looking at the Article 6. There was some change in the verbiage. Did everybody get a chance to look at that? And it looks like it's going to be put up on the screen right now. Dan, perhaps you can give us a little color here as
Yeah.
to what happened.
So as we went through the
Stephen Island,
East
Charlie
Means-
over India, Mike 509, CIM.
Hold on.
509.
as we went through the final preparations for getting this ready for town meeting, it became apparent that the language that was in the original version of Article 6 failed to include all of the taxable classes of property, including commercial, industrial property as defined at Chapter 59, Section 2A. So we made that amendment. It was recommended to us that we make that amendment to make it clear that all the classes of property are affected by this action.
Does anybody have any questions on that? I mean, is this something, how how did we miss that, I guess was the question.
Well, I think in general, it was a lot of the work, we've been so fixated on the impact of residential taxes. As it was drafted, it just got missed, the actual classification of all the different parcels. I don't think it was something that, you know, I guess going back in time, we probably should have just been more clear with the entire debate about what the tax impact is on this of all the classes, but we just literally been fixated on residential. And that's how it got drafted.
And Dan, it was always the intention to have it drafted this way.
Yeah, because that's the way the taxation works. It's consistent. It's all the different classes of property have to be included.
Anybody have any questions or thoughts about that? I don't see any issues with that. Anybody want to make a comment?
I'm going to make a comment relative to the documentation we received. We talked a little bit a few minutes ago about whether or not we received the final copy of the warrant. And I thought I had, but the copy I received only a couple of days ago does not include this wording.
Yeah, it couldn't because it had already gone to print. The warrant was printed about a month ago.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is an amendment that's going to be needed to be made from the floor. That's correct.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So to George's point, we're bringing it to your attention so that you were briefed on this before we went into the meeting tomorrow night. It would have popped up. I don't think we had a meeting. Was it last week or the week before or something? It would have come up then if we were ready to give it to you, but we weren't ready to give it to you at that time.
Yeah, and I should have forwarded this. I didn't realize it wasn't sent to everybody. And I just was asking Dan about this a few minutes ago before the meeting started. So I apologize for that. We would have forwarded it, but I just didn't realize it wasn't sent to everybody. So kind of loud.
We didn't meet last week, right? I don't think so, right? Yeah. So we wanted to get it in before you go tomorrow.
Right. So without further ado, if no one else has any questions or comments, I think we can look for a motion to approve or not approve.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. So we're going to go through a roll call here. We're actually going to look at some discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're going to move to a roll call. Robert?
I'm going to abstain.
George?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Jack?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So
Great.
moved.
Thank you. Next
Uh,
item, Mr. Chairman, is a budget transfer. We don't get these that often this time of year, but we have one here for the consideration of the committee. I've
Okay.
asked Chief Frederickson to be on the call here tonight to explain what he's asking for.
Great. Hi, Chief. The floor is all yours.
I think he's muted.
Chief, you're muted. I don't know if he's talking to us or not.
Yeah. I don't
Hello,
know.
can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you. The
Okay,
floor is
there
all
you go.
yours.
Sorry, doing this one from the car. Hands-free, of course. So, hey, what we're looking to do is transfer $20,000 from the bulletproof vest money. We just completed the purchase of most of our vests and the funds that were allotted at town meeting. We were able to get them for much less of a price through the bidding process. So we ended up with some extra money left in, like 24,000, give or take. We still have a few things to buy. So what came apparent during this past spring with some of the protests and violence and angst towards police is that we had to respond to different protests and parades or gatherings. And we discovered that across the Cape, we were basically unprepared for that type of thing since it hasn't happened in some time. I mean, when I first came on the job in the late 70s, we had the remnants of the Tactical Patrol Force for the Cape that did the very same thing. And we had some equipment at that time, but has never really been replenished other than some of the SWAT elements have some pieces of equipment. So we ended up training some of our people to get them up to speed with the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office, who have a move team that, for anything that might happen at the jail. And they were also deployed to a couple different places across the Cape. Never had to really be used, but they were ready and they had all the equipment. So with the training, it became apparent we don't have the right equipment. We spec'd it out with what is the standard issued equipment and got some estimates, and we had to find some money. We thought that this would be a good place where it's protective equipment and the bulletproof vest money to transfer it so that we could get the equipment, which included gas masks and headgear and paddings.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the chief?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, please.
So can you elaborate more on what the equipment is? Gas masks, padding. Why do you need gas masks?
Because at the time, if you recall any of the different protests that were taken on, there were chemicals used against officers, and sometimes chemicals have to be used against some of the protesters, rioters, et cetera. So it's an essence to keep breathing, because there are a lot of different things that were displayed by rioters during that time, including gases, smoke, all types of things, urine being thrown at the officers, all feces, et cetera. So it's for the officers' safety.
Did any of those incidents happen on the Cape?
No.
And why do we think that they will?
Well, I think if you take a look at what has taken place across the state and not far from here, like 60 miles from here in Brockton, which you may have seen what took place there, what took place in Boston and Springfield, et cetera, when we're called in for mutual aid to help other agencies as well as them called in to help us. We don't know. I actually was involved in March with the marches down in South Yarmouth, and I can tell you, being right there on the front line, something can go bad really quick. And it's not that time when you decide, maybe we better get some equipment down here. You need to have it ready ahead of time. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made that by wearing a lot of that gear that can help incite that. But aside from that, are you proposing to, I see on here, aerosol canister. I mean, so what is that? Are you proposing to use this funds to buy gas?
Well, the canisters go on the gas mask as filters.
Mm-hmm. So are you proposing to spend any of this money on any kind of gas that you would gas protesters with?
No, we just need the equipment, the protective gear.
Okay.
Yes, I have a similar concern, but maybe you can clarify in this way. So this is purely defensive and not offensive in any way. And we're not buying any chemicals that we might use, are we?
Some of it will be OC spray, which we already carry.
What's OC spray?
Oleocapsin pepper spray.
Is that spray something that you currently have in that you?
Yes. Yes, all officers carry it.
Do the state police have this capability?
Yes.
Are they trained to use this material?
Yes.
Are your people trained to use this material?
Yes.
What's the nature of that training?
We get trained in classroom portion, we, with OC, we end up getting sprayed ourselves, so we can understand the effects of it. We also get sprayed in order to be able to understand that we can maneuver through it and not to give up if we do get sprayed.
I mean, I'll be blunt. I have a reservation about militarizing our constabulary force.
Yeah.
Clearly there's been a tendency to do that in the last 20 years. Curiously, in part to offset the purchase of this from the Defense Department, or the stockpile of this in the Defense Department. I have reservations. I'll be blunt. That's all.
Yeah.
I want to see our policemen protected and with the gear they need, but this is in that gray area in my mind, is ratcheting up the nature of the confrontation.
Yeah, well,
Chief,
I have a much different opinion on that. I understand that. I've heard that, militarization, all that stuff. But the bottom line is, I look at the officers as my sons and daughters who have to go out there at these times when they are needed. And I don't want to send them out there without the right equipment to protect themselves. That's the bottom line. And that's what we deserve to give our men and women that are out there on the front lines. We should be giving them the right amount of equipment to protect themselves. And, it's really that simple. None of this, I hope that we never have to use it. That's really the bottom line.
I think their lines are disagreement here. Your words, right equipment. So what you see to be the right equipment and what I see the right equipment is probably not the same.
It might be, and I guess we could disagree, and some of it's a basis of knowledge in what you've experienced, and perhaps you've experienced something
I've been
differently.
in combat. How's that?
Yeah, that's pretty significant. I thank you for your service, but this is a different experience when you have to be ready to go into a situation that is not in control by anybody, that can get out of control really quickly, and then have our officers there protecting other people and property as well. And we're told to do so.
I have no problem with defending our policemen to the full extent. What I am questioning is whether or not any of this is offensive. And you can assure me that it is not offensive.
I can tell you, no, it's not offensive. We would be purely in a defense. As a matter of fact, the way in which we deploy this would, the team that would be set up in abeyance, as we did in South Yarmouth, is we put them away. We put them out of sight, out of mind. And if you took a look at how we handled the event in South Yarmouth, we kept a very low profile with a team of officers who are equipped just as you see here, ready about 1.5 miles away from any incident, only if they are absolutely needed. So the intention is never to have any confrontation. And sometimes we have no decision on whether there's a confrontation or not. It starts with whoever's present. And it's, the last thing we want to do is start any confrontation. And we hope that any protests are what we, the buzzword peaceful protests, and that's how it should remain. And we should be there as police to help coordinate that and make it all happen.
Steve, is there a shelf life on this material?
The shelf life on the OC spray, it does have a shelf life. I'm not sure what it is. It's usually about 5 years.
Okay, and what about the gas mask?
The gas mask, the filters, I'm not certain on these particular filters for the gas mask. They're all a little bit different. I'm not sure. Some of them have quite a long life expectancy.
And the masks themselves, of the cost? Is that, do they have longer than?
Listed owner is operating all field.
Hold on one second. Yeah. Could you repeat that question, please?
The masks themselves, which I would think would be the more expensive component, do they have a finite life?
Yeah, they'll last for quite some time.
Fair enough.
You know, I don't know. They could last 15 years for all I
Yeah,
know,
I
but
mean, I'm just thinking if it's a 3-year lifespan.
yeah, no, it's not something that's routinely rotated out.
I think we could go round and round with these conversations like this, and I appreciate everyone's point of view. Does anybody else have any further questions before we bring?
Yeah, I just had a couple just to follow up on something. Chief, you said that the sheriff's department over at the jail, they already have all this stuff,
Yes.
and the stadies do too.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last piece.
Police do as well.
All right.
Sorry, I have
you
a
broke it
quiet,
up.
makes it even worse on Zoom. State police in Yarmouth have this equipment as well.
The state police, every state trooper is equipped with some elements of riot gear.
Okay, and do
Uh,
any of the
so-
other town police departments have this on right now?
Some of them have pieces, and that's what we discovered during the spring. We weren't ready. And we had to depend on other elements from the state. And when things are happening in Brockton and Boston and Springfield and Wareham and all these other places, the assets get spread too thin and they can't respond to us. You gotta remember our location, we're pretty far away. We're pretty far away from anything to get any resources here. So that we're unprepared. So we've, across the Cape, decided that we should get some type of preparedness so that we could respond in a professional manner.
Any further questions or comments for the chief?
Chief, how is a riot baton defensive?
Defensive, if you're being attacked, you have something other than a firearm to protect yourself. Currently, every officer has a baton already. They're a different type.
I think everyone shares the value, and I'll just speak for myself. I certainly would value making sure that our members of the force are protected. I feel a little taken aback by this without kind of further discussion, and B, I am concerned about the larger implications of preparing. There is sort of a situation that can happen where if you prepare for the worst, that sometimes that it can lead to the worst, in terms of the mindset that kind of goes into these types of events. And I also worry about how the message this sends and how it conflicts potentially with the outreach efforts that are going on. I know that your department's doing great work in terms of reaching out to people of color within the community. And I think that that's really great. And I worry that this kind of undermines that and sends a conflicting message. So I have some real concerns about this.
Well, I would think that I understand, and that perception can be understood, but I can tell you the way I look at things is to have a balanced approach, which is what I think you can see right across the board, the way we operate and the way most police departments do. You have to be ready for whatever might happen. And my job as chief is to make sure that my officers have what they need. It is not anything that we're going to run around the streets in riot gear, but at that moment, when we need something, we should be prepared, because not being prepared, not having the right equipment, not having the right of training that goes along with it will cause the problems, which I think if you'll take a look at a lot of different incidents, it's better to have better trained people who are responsible with the right equipment to do the right things. When you go piecemeal, you're not prepared. And we found that we weren't prepared. We know that, and that's not a good feeling. And I can tell you that from being right there, even in our own little protest that we had, it's very easy to see when one or two or things can go wrong very quickly if you don't have good discipline, the right experience, the right training, and have the right equipment to deal with it. This is not an offensive piece at all. It is morally protecting our officers who are going to protect you and everybody else and their property as well.
Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
All right, thank you. Chief, first of all, nice job on saving some money on the vests so that I can see what you're trying to do is buy what is primarily defensive gear to protect the police officers. And I also greatly appreciate the fact that if I give these people this gear, they are much more highly likely not to have to use their weapon. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brian, can I make a statement also?
Yes, you may.
We do not know if somebody from Virginia who drove to Philly also might not drive to the Cape. And I'd hate to see the chief not be prepared. That's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just remind everybody who's not speaking to please mute your microphone? So hearing no further commentary, I believe we can look for a motion to either approve this transfer or deny it.
Motion
I'll
to
make a
accept,
motion to approve it.
then I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Robert,
Aye.
George,
All right,
Nate,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Nay.
Sarah,
Nay.
Jack,
Aye.
myself, I'm an I as well. It passes.
Hey, listen, just trust me, please. Trust me. This is for the good of everybody, and it's for the good of our officers. And, you know, when they hear that they're not supported, that creates issues. And we've had a great track record of supporting, and we like to under-promise and over-deliver for you. And this is the right thing to do. And if anybody has concerns, I'd rather have you come and talk to me further on what your concerns are, and we can explain things, and we can have you speak to the officers directly and what their thoughts are. I think that might be very valuable. And I appreciate the efforts you put in and the fact that you're doing this. And your comments, I appreciate them, and we'll take them to heart and make sure that we do not disappoint you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
if I may just respond to that. Chief, you know I have tremendous respect for you and the work that your officers do. Know a lot of them, have known a lot of them over the years. I take umbrage with the framing of a no vote as being not supporting them. And I think that kind of black and white language is harmful and divisive itself. There are, in terms of, we can have, further conversations offline about that. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to take you up on your offer. But I think that we have to be very careful, especially in this really hostile political climate of, othering people who view things differently as just sort of not supporting the police, because I support the police, but I also support, people of color in our community and throughout this country that have very legitimate grievances with our system and not with individual officers per se. So I think I just would say that we need to be a little bit more judicious with language like that.
Well, I understand, Stephanie, but the reality is when they hear that, especially now, when they are under scrutiny more than ever, that's how it will be taken. I can't sugarcoat it any way more than that. That's how it is. But the fact that you listen and we know who you are and you come in, we educate and we hear you more in other forums and understand that's positive. That makes things better. That builds tremendous trust and understanding. And I will do my very best to make sure that that's portrayed that way.
Thank you, Chief. And maybe we can set up something down the road where some of us can come in and actually take you up on that offer. I think that'd be a valuable experience for us all.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
It usually helps when we share information.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're all set. Thank you for your time, Chief.
All right. Thank you. See ya. Bye.
Dan, do we have any new business?
No, that's it. Oh, you know, actually, I do need to know who's going to attend tomorrow night.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody have any thoughts on that? Who's planning on attending? It's
I'm going to attend.
Who's that?
So Nate's gonna be,
Nate?
Stephanie.
I haven't decided yet, but I'll let Steph know if I go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on the fence also.
Okay.
Jack, I won't attend.
Okay. You will not attend.
No, I will not.
Okay, great. Okay. Yeah.
George, no. George, no attend?
No.
No.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Gotcha.
So
So,
that's like
3 for sure, is maybe.
3, Dan. 3-ish,
Yep.
potentially 4.
Okay.
And that's we need a kind of a number just to get the amount of books, right? Is that what my understanding?
Books. Yep. That was one of the issues. The other one is make sure that if anybody wanted to get up on the stage, that we have enough precautionary shields.
Right. And we are going to be sitting on the stage.
We can do that.
Yeah, I saw that today from Pat Armstrong. I just wanted to say that I've been on the fence. And I've shared my views with a few of you over the past couple days, weeks, and it's definitely for me nerving to go to this. But I think that the shields that they're going to provide for us will make us feel a little bit better. So.
Wait, there's going to be shields in between the table on the stage?
Yeah, so the tables are like 6 feet maybe in length, and there'll be a shield. There'll be 2 people seated at a table at each end, and there'll be a shield between, much like how we do the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Okay, so not like the spring when we were in the audience.
No. Brian had asked if we could get everybody up on stage, and that's what we plan to do. So,
if it was safe to do so.
I mean, if you wanted to stay,
No,
in
that
the
makes
audience
me
in the
feel
front
actually
row.
better about it than the spring, the shields. So
I
What's that?
agree.
yeah, the shields make me feel better about it than the setup from the spring. I thought it was the same setup from the spring.
Yeah, just need to know for sure at some point earlier tomorrow than later. That would be
Earlier
good.
tomorrow. Okay, so if someone
Right.
on the
Brian,
fence,
this is Jack. I will not be there tomorrow night.
okay, that's fine, Jack. Thank you. If whoever's on the fence can just either let me know or Dan know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Oh, okay. Let's do a roll call. Robert,
Hi.
George,
Right.
Nate,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Hi.
Sarah.